The day is April 24th, 1980, and the United States is attempting to rescue 52 hostages held inside the American embassy in Tehran. They would fail, but the enemy that defeated the effort wasn't the Revolutionary Guard Corps. It was suspended dirt. 8 men died, and the mission ended in a burning heap of twisted metal in the middle of the desert. I'm Nick Eigelhart, and I'm your host for this episode of The Weather Vault. Operation Eagle Claw required 8 Navy helicopters to fly low into the Iranian desert to a refueling point called Desert 1, where they would link up with C-130 aircraft carrying Delta Force commandos. The pilots were told to expect clear skies. Instead, 2 hours into the flight, they hit a haboob. This intense dust storm lifted fine particles thousands of feet into the air. Flying with night vision goggles and no ambient light, the pilots lost all visual references. Temperatures inside the helicopters would spike to 93 degrees, causing vertigo and disorientation. One helicopter turned back, another was abandoned, and a third suffered hydraulic failure. Only 5 of the required 6 helicopters arrived. During the chaotic evacuation, a helicopter rotor would slice into a C-130's fuel tank, producing the explosion that killed the 8 servicemen. The Air Weather Service had satellites monitoring the route, but the dust was thermally invisible, its temperature nearly identical to the sun-baked ground beneath it. Still, they knew the environment was unstable. The CIA had conducted soil analysis and knew the dirt was powdery enough to produce brownout conditions. However, the pilots never received any of this information. At the time, information flowed vertically. Air Force weather data went only to Air Force planners, never shared horizontally to the Marine pilots actually flying the helicopters. Weather officers were disallowed from speaking directly to the pilots, forced to simply give a yes or no on the mission. An organizational approach that prioritizes secrecy over effectiveness spelled doom for the mission. The subsequent Holloway report highlighted what it called the weather disconnect, concluding that the lack of communication regarding dust storm conditions was the most direct cause of the mission's failure. The disaster proved that the service branches were operating as loose confederates rather than as a team. This would contribute directly to the Goldwater-Nichols Act of 1986, arguably the most important military law since World War II. It stripped the service chiefs of their operational command, placing authority into the hands of the Unified Combatant Commands. For the first time, a single commander could utilize forces across multiple services, such as ordering an Air Force weather unit to work with Marine pilots. In 1987, U.S. Special Operations Command was created for exactly this purpose, eventually fielding its own primary units like Delta Force and SEAL Team 6. The tragedy of Eagle Claw demonstrates that meteorology does not only shape the timing of operations, as with D-Day, but can also expose institutional flaws in ways other factors cannot. The modern American military structure exists in large part because of a dust storm in Iran. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to always be informed of my latest videos.